some support, but virtually none. Because they've all made a deal, even the ones who know better. Even the ones who know better. That these 2 years they were going to go along with the Republican leadership in the House and the Senate in every procedural matter and not give a single vote. They gave a couple. I mean a couple. 1, 2, 3. I don't mean 10%, 20%. And so, folks, it's been clear. I remember us talking and the president not really wanting to accept my suggestion that I had spoken to 7 Republican senators in the first 2 months who told me, Joe, I want to be with you in a lot of this, but I can't be. I've made a commitment that I would stay in every procedural vote with the opposition, with my party. And so, folks, they're betting on their success rests on our failure, without realizing whatever government in power today fails, the American people fail. But fortunately, we've been able to overcome it. We've been able to overcome it, but not in clear channel, man. Not in clear, unadulterated message to the American people. Everybody wonders, why is it taking so long? If we've done all these things, why is it so difficult? These are big, complex bills. And we have a chance now, the people are starting to focus, to lay out exactly what they mean to average Americans. And the alternative will be they're going to see the party of Joe Barton and John Boehner and Mitch McConnell. And I don't mean that as a personal attack. They're decent people. But Joe Barton is a leading Republican on the House Energy Committee. Remind you, he actually called for our requirement that BP pay for the damage caused by the spill, a shakedown. And he apologized to BP. I say that not because of, that could have been a slip of the tongue, but it wasn't. It is a philosophic point of view. And he was honest enough to assert it. He's not a bad guy. I'm not making any moral judgment on anything he said. That's what he believes. And he represents a party that believes the essence of what he asserts, if not specifically about BP. John Boehner. I like John, and I literally do. My problem is maybe the happy warrior part. I like a lot of Republicans, and I really do. And I hope they like me all right, but I strongly disagree with them. John Boehner is a decent guy, leader of the House Republicans. He said that our efforts to regulate the excesses of Wall Street and the financial industry was holding Wall Street accountable, and we attempted to hold it accountable, and we did. He said it was akin to using a nuclear weapon to kill an ant. Well, guess what? That's a pretty big damn ant. It ate up about 8 million jobs. It ate up about 8 million jobs. Look, folks. Mitch McConnell, I've worked with for years and years. I was just with him. He and I both did eulogies for a mutual friend of ours, Ted Stevens, just 2 days ago. I like Mitch. But he called for the health care bill to be, quote, repealed and replaced. He wants to repeal the right of parents who have a child on diabetes to be covered without exceptional additional cost and not be called, because of a pre-existing condition, be denied. He wants to repeal the right of a parent to keep a 19 or 21-year-old kid in college. They can barely keep them in college, to keep them on their insurance plan. He wants to repeal a 30% tax credit that's going to kick in soon for small businesses who have the decency to go out there and break their neck to provide health care for their employees. He wants to repeal the preventative care that's kicking in now for seniors to keep them from being sicker. And he wants to replace it, once again, with the tyranny of the insurance companies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you read through this, they're pretty clear about what they believe. The Republican Party is the party in 2010 of repeal and repeat. Repeat the old practices of the past. And I believe it's out of step with where the American people are, and it's our job between now and the election to draw those clear distinctions. Look, when we have the American people focus on our differences, I think we're going to do just fine in November. There's a choice for Americans in this election, and it's not between Democrats and the Almighty. It's between Democrats and the Republican Tea Party. Ladies and gentlemen, it's between Democrats and the party of repeal and repeat. The President and I believe, and we've said it repeatedly, and I think you do too, that it's much worse to accept the situation we cannot bear rather than to steel our spine and embrace the promise of change, even though change is always frightening. That's why you put us in the White House, to steel our spines and in turn this great country around. For where is it written that the United States has to yield its economic supremacy to China? Where is it written that the United States can't once again be the leading manufacturer of automobiles and manufacturing in the world? Where is that written? Where is it written that the United States cannot be and will not be as innovative and creative in the new technologies of the future as we were in the 20th century? For if we do not, we cannot lead the world. Ladies and gentlemen, every American knows in their gut there is no possibility of us leading the 21st century the same energy policy, health policy, as well as education policy we've had in the last century. But they also know change creates uncertainty. And this is our opportunity. Our opportunity, now that they'll begin to focus, to lay out honestly what we've did and honestly what the alternative is. I used to kid, and it's a hackneyed metaphor, but there was a place my friend John Danello knows just across the line in Delaware, and it's called the Avondale Quarry. And it's a deep, deep quarry of clear water with high cliffs on the side. And notched in those cliffs, on that cliff, there's a thing called the sparrow's nest, the crow's nest, and the eagle's nest. And there's places that macho young guys in high school and college go out there and try to jump off of. And the highest one is pretty high. It's somewhere, they say it's 100 feet. I think it's more like 60, but it's a long way up. And I remember being the worst kind of kid. I'd be one of those guys that jump off there, and people say, isn't that frightening? There wasn't anything frightening about jumping off that. You know what's frightening if you ever jumped off anything that high in deep, deep water? You go down very deep. And you go down, I mean this sincerely, you go down so deep that it's black. And for a split second, your chest constricts because you're frightened. You don't know whether you're swimming down or up. But you get about 15 feet from the top of the water and you look up and you can see the light. You're still drowning. Not a joke. Think about this. But you know you're going to be okay. You know you're moving in the right direction. That's what we have to make clear to the American people. Because they know they shouldn't be doing the crawl now. They're not out there setting records swimming. They know the depth we were put in by this last administration. It's going to take time. But I promise you, they're like the people I grew up with in my neighborhoods in Claymont and Scranton. You know, you sit around the kitchen table in my house where people lost jobs. And the thing, as I said, news came across, the stock market's up, the GDP's gone. It didn't matter. It mattered only if you heard Worth Steel just hired on 25 guys, brought them back. Or the food fair used to be a chain of supermarkets. They're building a new supermarket down on the Philadelphia Pike that was going to hire full-time about 120 people. That's what made people around the kitchen table say, you know, it's going to be okay. Our objective, the President and mine, and I know yours, but I'll put it in my terms, is to stop that walk up those flight of stairs and allow every parent out there to be able to look in their kid's eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's what we're about. And the only way it's going to be okay is if we don't turn back now, if we don't continue to stay the course on producing an entire new industries, generating new investment, generating an opportunity for American business and American workers to be able to once again lead the world in economic growth. I believe we're on the path to do that. We have a long way to go. And as I see it, and I'm sure as you see it, this is not about the next election. It really is about the next generation. And it sounds corny. I'm not naive. I've been there for 8 presidents. I truly believe if the public realizes we are focusing on the welfare of the next generation, the next election will take care of itself. Because if we take care of that, if we take care of business, they'll stay with us. For I can promise you this, our economy is coming back. America is on its way back. And Democrats are going back to Washington and the governor's seats in the majority. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.